video is all about logo design and the process that graphic designers, just like myself, go through from start to finish to create unique, distinct, and tasteful brand identities. We will go through each step of the design process together so you can see my exact workflow. Here's a quick overview of the different stages of the design process. We will start with strategy, then move on to the design inspiration and creating a mood board. After this, we will jump into the design, which involves creating the logo suite, identifying the brand colors and more, and finally seeing the brand in action. So before we jump into the design process, I'm going to give you the scenario in 15 seconds or less. A newly formed business out of London called Flipped has inquired with my services, asking me to design their brand identity. Their goal is to provide a healthy and lower calorie pancake mix that is quick and easy to make, whilst also satisfying your sweet tooth. Perfect for anyone with an active and healthy lifestyle. So there's a scenario and you're all up to date. So let's jump in to the first step of the process. Brand strategy. Let's have an overview at who they're trying to target and their goals. So target audience is 18 to 30-year-old male and females. Their interests include working out, yoga, outdoor activities, cooking, and eating out. The design is going to be both neutral to men and women, bubbly, groovy, and vibrant. The goal of this brand is to sell pancake mix products, get them into big retailers, open up a pancake restaurant that uses the mixes and creates an entertaining in-person service. So next stage is competitor analysis. So we're going to have a look at similar businesses to see what's working, what's out there, what's not working, so we can try and slot into the perfect position within the industry. Within this stage as well, we will also gather some design inspiration to make sure that the style we're going for doesn't mimic the competitors, so we can really make this brand identity stand out. So let's head to the design desk and look at the Pinterest board. So we are at the desk, and I've just remembered whenever I design food brands, I get insanely hungry and I have not eaten breakfast, so I am probably going to start craving some pancakes. Anyway, let's go and take a look at our Pinterest board that I've already put together for that design inspiration. So on the board that we have put together so far, you will notice a common theme with the typography. So I found a really nice style, which is quite a bubbly and groovy style. And whenever you're trying to look for design inspiration, it's always good to go back to the strategy stage and see who you are trying to target. So for us, we are trying to target both female and males aged between 18 to 30. So we want to make sure that there is a neutral balance and we're not doing anything too feminine or too masculine. So I think going for this really nice edgy bubbly style mixed with either a sans serif or serif typeface is going to work perfect for the target audience. So because there is a lot going on, there's a lot of designs, the next stage from this is to actually create a mood board. This just basically whittles down the style and actually has a clear creative direction for us designers and the client. So you can create 1 to 3 mood boards, that's what I kind of normally do, and then these will get sent to the client for them to agree on which one they like and what creative direction they want to go for. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to now create a mood board. So first thing I'm doing is dragging all of the imagery over from Pinterest into my Illustrator board, and then I can start inputting it into the squares, moving things about, and just create a really nice direction. So the main components to include in your mood board are imagery, typography, product packaging, textures, and some color. So it is quite hard at this stage to actually figure out a color palette, because when you get to the design process, you might find another color palette that actually works a bit better, but it is a good place to start to try and figure out that so your client is really aware of the direction. So we are inputting some imagery of the pancakes. We've got some beautiful typography, and I definitely have more of a vision now of where the brand is going. So we're going to use a really nice, like, groovy, retro, really thick and really energetic font to represent the pancakes. So obviously when you're pouring pancakes or you're making the mix, it's kind of reminds me of like flicking and splattering. So we want to get that movement in and create a really nice bubbly kind of type. But we want to make sure that it isn't too kid-like, and we want to keep it to our target audience, which is obviously female and male. So we want to get a really nice balance within that. So I'm just going to go ahead and input some more imagery and get the mood board perfect. So then this can be sent to the client, which will then hopefully hopefully be approved. It is also good to know that I offer around 1 to 3 mood boards for the client to look at. One, if I feel that the style is really perfect and they know exactly what they want, or I will offer 2 or 3 more just to give them a few options so they can see exactly what vision matches theirs. So the creative direction has now been approved, aka by me, and we can now get on to designing the logo suite. So because we already have a really clear and solid direction, it's going to make it really easy and simple to actually start designing the brand, which is why you should never just start designing the brand identity without doing the prior brand strategy and mood board stage, and make sure you get that approval from the client, because it will save you a lot of time in the long run with trying to read your client's mind. So looking at the mood board now, we know that we are going to go for a really bubbly and groovy font along with either a sans serif or bold bit of typography. I'm not sure yet until we actually start designing it, but I'm actually going to head over to Envato Elements to source some beautiful bubbly and retro fonts. They are actually today's sponsor of the video, and they are a great resource, platform and hub for designers. You can get things like fonts, mockups, design assets and so much more. I'll be using their fonts and mockups throughout this video, so if you stick around you will see everything in action. So if you want to check them out, make sure you click the link in my description. So I have now chosen 8 different typefaces, and we're now going to go in and whittle them down and talk about the direction that we want to go in. So from the mood board, I knew that I wanted to find like real nice bubbly, real typefaces that have like some personality to it, and like I said before, we want to represent that pancake with the splats and just make it really, really fun. So we've chosen some typefaces that are gonna fit well with this, so we're gonna now whittle them down. So the first one is quite a retro font. I love the art. It fits really nicely with that smile bit on our mood board, and I think this could have potential, so we're gonna keep that one. Next is Django Regular, and I don't know if I want to go for all caps or not, but I feel like this is a bit OTT and I really want to customize some more bits of typography. So I feel like that one has already been customized and it's a bit too much. I want to make sure that it's still modern enough and it's not too far off the scale of it being a bit all over the place. So I think we're going to delete that one. Next is Nascal Regular. Now I've got a love-hate relationship with this because I feel like there is a lot of potential there. I could manipulate it, I could make it thicker, and I really like that E. It's giving me that movement that I was looking for. So we're gonna leave that in there and we will come back to that one. Next is Moonthi. I always pronounce these wrong, it's so bad. Now, I'm trying to compare this to the top one, and I do actually really like it, but it's more in like a graffiti style, and I don't think I wanna go for that, so it is gone. Next, I thought it'd be really nice to put in really bold italic typography, and it's so hard. Okay, so I think I want to steer away from that and go for maybe the more customized type. We could actually end up mixing the two, but for now, it is gone. Next is Ruther's Regular, and I really, really like this. I think I'm gonna keep this and then compare these two in a minute. I really like that. It's giving me pancake vibes already, so we're gonna keep that one. Next is Blow Regular, and I wanted to get some more bold bit of type in here, but I'm not liking it now, so it is gone. And then lastly is Groovy Script. I said we wanted to go groovy, but I do get retro vibes from this, and we kind of want to steer away from retro, but we still want to keep that bubbly and thick type. So I actually preferred this one to this one, so we're going to get rid of that, and now we're going to choose the 3. So I actually prefer these two than the top one, so I'm brutal with this process, but it needs to be done for us to actually move on and create a logo suite. So now I actually see potential in this one, but I am getting positive vibes from this one. Oh, let me know which one you would choose. I actually think we might go for Nascal. I don't know why. Even though I'm getting pancake vibes from this one, I think, okay. Ooh, okay, yeah, we're gonna keep this one at the side. I always do this and I never go back to it, but we'll keep that one there. but I actually really like this. It's giving me like drip, it's giving me pancake, it's giving me splatter vibes, and that's what we wanted to go for. I have a feeling that we might include another typeface within this because it might be too overpowering, having it all kind of swirling around one another. But until we start designing, we won't know if we've made the right choice. But let's get into designing the primary logo. Font chosen, we are now going to move on to actually designing the primary logo type. So this is going to involve manipulating and customizing the typography to make it super custom to the client, meaning that no one else will have that kind of logo type out there in the world. So the first thing to think about when actually designing the logo is the layout. Now, when you have shorter one-worded words, it is a lot easier to kind of figure out the layout because it normally is just in a landscape layout. But when you've got more words and more letters, then it kind of makes it a little bit harder, and you have to think of how the composition and layout is going to be for the logo type. So for us, we're going to keep it in a nice landscape position. We've outlined our type, and it is now time for us to get into the nitty-gritty, start customizing it, and actually create a really nice primary logo type. So the next stage that I am actually looking at is the typography itself. So what letters do I want to manipulate, which do I want to make custom, and how are they going to integrate into one another? So for this kind of style, we like that drippy effect, and I kind of want to get some letters intertwining with one another. So the first place I'm going to start is on the F. Now, the tools that I use to actually customize typography, the go-to tool is the pencil tool. So I will actually go into a letter and I will just use the pencil tool to actually add features onto the letter. I then use the rubber and the curvature tool, and those are my three top tools that I use when customizing the typography. So I'm just going into this F, and I felt like it needed a top to it. So I am just getting the pencil tool and I'm adding a really nice bubble, which is gonna be a theme throughout this type, is to include really nice kind of head to things. So really nice bubble to give it some shape and some movement. So once I've used the pencil tool, I actually go in and grab the smooth tool, which basically just smooths out all of those lines that you've created, making you look like you have created a perfect line, when in reality, you're just using a tool to smooth it out. Because this one is gonna be super custom, I'm kind of just using the original typography as like a template, and I'm basically just going in and creating my own letters. So we're kind of coming up with our own font, but at the same time we are using someone else's to just have that template and basis of somewhere to start. And then from this, we're going in and just making it super, super custom. So I am just doing the eye, and I had a feeling this was gonna happen, but I really want to add in another typeface just because I feel like there is a lot going on with this already. So I'm actually going to find one. I think Gotham do a really nice one, and they do an italic. So I think I'm actually going to add in some letters that are an italic, plus we're going to integrate that with the kind of flowy, retro, groovy style and see if that works, just because I'm getting icky vibes already. So we're going to see if this works, and if it doesn't, then I don't know what we're gonna do. I come up with some good ideas sometimes. I do blow myself away. So I am intertwining the I and the P together, and we're using that really juicy, really nice strip effect to create that movement that we were after. So they have now been combined, and I've used the Pathfinder tool to make sure that they are now combined and in one. And we have the F as well, which is in that groovy kind of font, creating that movement that we wanted. I am so glad as well that I included another typeface, because I feel like the other one was just too overpowering, and now we get some movement, but we also get a really nice modern vibe. So I'm glad that I've done that, and I'm really happy with how this primary logo type looks. I don't actually think I'm going to tweak it anymore. I actually really like it the way that it is. So the next thing we're going to move on to is creating a secondary logo type, which is basically just an alternative logo from this layout. So at the moment, we obviously can't really position this in any other way other than creating a logo mark, which we will get to in a minute. So I actually think it would be nice to add pancakes somewhere so that the client has that opportunity, if they need it, to have flipped pancake. So I'm just going to create that and then we will move on to the logo mark. So as a designer, it is crucial that you supply your client with as many options as possible for the logo suite. So this just means giving them a primary logo, a secondary logo, a logo mark, an icon, as many options as possible, so then they have versatility when using the logo in a certain space or position. So for example, if they needed something to fit something circular, our primary logo, which is in a landscape position, would be quite hard to kind of fit in there. So we want to make sure that we are creating options with that in mind so that the client can always be happy when using their logo suite. So on to the next thing, which is creating a logo mark. So this is basically an icon or some letters to represent the brand, but in a really smaller and condensed space. So it is really good to kind of come up with an icon or something custom for the brand, but we still want to make sure that it resembles that primary logo so that it's cohesive across the whole brand identity. I actually have no idea what I'm going to do for this, but I know that I want to include kind of some pancakes, obviously, because it is a pancake brand, but I don't want to make it really obvious and really like cartoony. I just want to keep it nice and simple, but I also want to include something from the primary logo. So what I think I'm going to do is actually use the top of the F, and underneath that maybe put some pancakes and see if that works or if it doesn't. Okay, so after experimenting, we've got 3 different logo marks, and we actually came to the third one by kind of experimenting with those other 2, and we've basically used the top of the F and we've created like a dripping effect, which fits in really nice with the primary logo, but it also can kind of represent the butter or the batter of the pancake mix. And then underneath that, we've got 2 stacks of pancakes, and I really like the look of that, and I really like how it's still cohesive with the primary logo. So when tackling that icon, always make sure that there is some strategic design involved and you've actually thought about why you are designing it in that specific way. So for this, you've obviously got the pancakes, which work really well for this brand. We've got that drip effect, which we've used within the primary logo, and we've actually used that top of the F to make sure that it is cohesive with the primary logo. So you're probably watching this thinking, why is she designing in black and white and where is the color? So when I start designing in the logo suite, I always start off in black and white. This just means that I won't get distracted by any color, and my focus is solely on creating the logo suite and making sure that it is gonna work in one single color, which is super important for any logo to make sure that it works in one color. That means that it isn't overcomplicated and it is nice and simple. This now leads us on to the next stage, which is actually adding in the color. So from our mood board, we already have some colors to work with, but it's also good to make sure that they are attracting the right audience. So we want to make sure that we are representing the brand well and using the right colors, because colors can play off of a lot of emotions. So for this, I like to go back to the color theory and actually look at the specific industry that I am designing for and see what is the common trend throughout these brands. So for this, in the food industry, it is the reds, the yellows and oranges, and this is more kind of for the fast food chains that are trying to evoke taste buds and to try and make you want some food. So obviously we're going for more of the dessert colors. So I really do want to go for the green and the kind of like neutral colors to really bring in that balance of the healthy plus making it dessert. So normally in dessert brands, you get a really nice pop of color to kind of show the pops of flavor throughout. So that's exactly what we're going to try and do with the contrasting of the green and the creamy colors. Okay, we are going straight in with trying to figure out the color palette. So I know I want to go for that green, so I'm just going to eyedrop something on my color board with the green, and then we can basically go from there and choose the color and get the right tint that we need. So I think it's going to be like an emerald green, maybe with a tint of blue as well, to obviously represent that health and the lower calories within the pancake mix. Next is a kind of like golden brown color. So you know that color that once you've cooked the pancakes, it's just perfectly cooked and it's just golden brown. That's what we're going for, and that's the aim. And then the off kind of whitey cream, I feel like that complements the green and the other color really well, and it represents kind of all the ingredients like the flour, the really light colors that go into the preparation of the mix. So once I've figured that out, I'm then just gonna arrange my artboards with the colors to make sure that the logo works kind of inverted and in the normal color, and actually make sure that the colors complement each other really well. I actually like how different this brand is to other kind of pancake or dessert brands out there, because normally it would either be really vibrant and really out there, or it's kind of like the neutral tones, but we've got a really nice contrast in color, and we haven't gone for the typical norm of going for like a lighter green to represent that health kick that normally brands go for. So this is a good mix of keeping it kind of pancake related, but also trying to slot in with the competitors and making sure that we are trying to stand out. So logo suite, colors, they have been done. I'm gonna add in some photography. I just like adding it in, so obviously if the brand was to go and do some ads, just to make sure that the logo suite works on top of photography or some video as well. And now what I'm going to do the next stage is to go and source some mock-ups. So I'm going to go to Envato Elements. I'm going to see if they've got any really nice like pouches. I had some really nice product mock-ups on my mood board, which I feel like would work well for a pancake mix. So we're going to do that. We're going to design some packaging and actually see if this brand identity is going to work in those real life situations. It's also good when you're putting the brand identity presentation together to show some mock-ups throughout, so your client can see the branding action and actually see it in that real life situation. So I've just designed the product packaging and I'm so excited for you guys to see it. You will see it in the brand reveal coming up in just a minute. But we have gone through the strategy, we've done the logo suite, we've designed the brand identity, we've chosen the colors, we've chosen the typography, we've done the mock-ups to make sure that everything looks right on the packaging, and it is now time for me to introduce you to Flipped. So if you want to learn how to use those mock-up templates that I used in that brand reveal, make sure you check out this video right here, which literally goes over how to edit a mock-up template. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a massive thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you at the next video.